The Caribbean is shifting. A region once quiet is now marked by the silhouette of a steel giant cutting across the horizon. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the largest and most advanced aircraft carrier the United States has ever built. And it didn't arrive alone. 4,000 personnel, dozens of fighter jets, Aegis destroyers, submarines, intelligence platforms, an entire strike group pushing toward the waters near Venezuela. A place Washington has long treated as its exclusive sphere of influence. The official explanation sounds simple enough: an escalation in the region. But the scale of this deployment raises more questions than it answers. Why send the most expensive aircraft carrier in American history so close to a country under economic pressure? What exactly is Washington afraid of? And is this truly about security, or about holding on to a dominance that's beginning to crack? Venezuela sees this as a direct threat, and this time the country is not standing alone, because as the Ford enters the Caribbean, another actor quietly steps onto the stage: Russia. Venezuela may not wield the economic strength it once did, but militarily it remains one of the most capable forces in Latin America. In the air, Caracas operates Su-30 MK2/MKV fighters, heavy platforms equipped with long-range anti-ship missiles. On the ground, the S-300VM stands like an invisible shield, locking onto aircraft, cruise missiles, even ballistic targets at extreme ranges. Russian-made radars watch the skies. Iranian-style kamikaze drones add new layers to their tactical options. Coastal defense missiles and electronic warfare units fill the gaps between air and sea. And, beneath the surface, Type 209 submarines navigate the shallow waters of the Caribbean, a difficult acoustic environment even for the United States Navy. This combination doesn't make Venezuela invincible, but it does make the Caribbean far more dangerous for any foreign force that attempts to push too close. Venezuela's capabilities become truly significant once Russia enters the equation. Russia operates military satellites, Liana, PNNKS, Lotos S-1, capable of tracking aircraft carrier formations across the ocean. Without this information, the USS Gerald R. Ford becomes a moving target that's nearly impossible to predict. Russia also brings high-grade electronic warfare systems like Krasuka-4 and Murmansk-BN disrupt radar networks, break communications links, and create electromagnetic noise that makes targeting unstable or delayed. And if the situation escalates, Moscow has the means to transform Venezuela's coastline into a genuine anti-access zone, using platforms like P-800 Onyx, Caliber variants, or Bastion P coastal batteries. Beyond hardware, Russia brings something more valuable: doctrine. Decades of studying carrier strike groups, decades of understanding their blind spots, decades of refining coordinated strikes that blend missiles, drones, and electronic warfare into a single disruptive attack. This is what turns the Ford's deployment from a show of strength into a sign of how much the strategic balance in the Caribbean is shifting. If tensions in the Caribbean ever cross the line, the conflict won't look like a Hollywood naval battle. There will be no dramatic dogfights or ships trading gunfire in open water. Modern conflict is fought through systems: quiet, fast, and unforgiving. 1. Coastal missile strikes. Supersonic missiles like the P-800 Onyx could be launched from hidden coastal sites, flying low over the water and forcing the Aegis network to react within seconds. 2. Long-range strikes from Su-30 fighters. Venezuelan Su-30s wouldn't need to approach the carrier. They would fire Ka-31AD missiles from a safe standoff range and retreat under the protection of the S-300. 3 mass kamikaze drones, slow, inexpensive, and highly disruptive, designed to overload defensive systems, not to sink the carrier directly. 4 submarines in shallow waters. Type 209 submarines operating in the noisy, shallow Caribbean pose a challenge even to advanced USASW capabilities. The goal wouldn't be to sink the USS Gerald R. The goal would be to force it back, create distance, and deny the United States the ability to operate freely along the Venezuelan coast. In modern warfare, that alone is a strategic victory. The deployment of the Gerald R. Ford looks like a demonstration of overwhelming strength. But beneath the surface, it reveals something else: Washington's discomfort with how fast the region is changing. For more than 2 centuries, the Caribbean existed under the shadow of the Monroe Doctrine. One power, one influence, one set of rules. But that structure is fading. Russia is inside the region. Venezuela is becoming a strategic partner rather than a passive neighbor, and China, Iran, and others are quietly expanding ties. The Ford isn't just a symbol of American power, it's a symbol of American anxiety, an effort to prevent the kind of geopolitical shift that Washington once considered impossible, and that is what makes this moment so significant. In a standoff like this, the greatest danger isn't the first shot, it's miscalculation, a misread radar signal, a fighter jet straying off its flight path. Electronic interference interpreted as a threat, a submarine detected too late. Any of these could escalate the situation faster than diplomacy can react. With an aircraft carrier, submarines, strike aircraft, drones, and advanced air defenses all operating in compressed space, the margin for error becomes dangerously small. The Caribbean, once quiet, now sits on a knife's edge. The Caribbean crisis of 2025 is more than a dispute between Washington and Caracas. It reflects a global landscape in transition, a world where old lines of influence no longer hold the way they once did. Venezuela is strengthening its defenses. Russia is seizing new strategic opportunities. And the United States is deploying its most powerful carrier to avoid losing ground in a region it once controlled without challenge. This shift raises questions that deserve careful thought, questions without simple answers. So let's approach this moment with a clear mind. Let's examine the facts, understand the context, and recognize the complexity behind every move. And let's build a space for thoughtful discussion, where insight matters more than noise and analysis matters more than assumptions. If you have your own perspective, questions, or additional information, share it in the comments. Let's break it down together, critically and calmly. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next update on this evolving situation. Your support allows this channel to continue delivering in-depth, responsible, and balanced geopolitical analysis. All analysis in this video is based on open source information and strategic interpretation. This content does not take sides, does not encourage conflict, and does not promote violence. Its purpose is to help audiences understand complex international dynamics in a clear, balanced, and responsible way. Thank you for watching. See you in the next analysis.